Physical development and mental development are some of the most important stages of development in late adolescence. These developments will surely affect our whole lifespan. In the first part of this discussion, I am going to discuss the experiences of teens in terms of their physical and mental development. By the way, I am Afidah M. Camar, and I invite you to discover these developments because who knows? Maybe I already experienced it. Or perhaps you have already had the experience.
Physical development. What is physical development? When we say physical, what comes on our mind first is our body, right? Well, according to early movers, physical development is the growth and development of body in infancy to early adulthood. Both girls and boys undergo physical development in the late adolescence. And have you ever wondered what are those developments? What do you think is the development among girls? Well, to answer that, most girls have completed the physical changes related to puberty by age 15. So what are these physical changes? The puberty starts between 8 to 13 years old. During the puberty, girls may get their first period until they are 16 years old, and this begins the change in their reproductive system. During this stage, aside from getting the period, girls experiences physical development such as breast development, increase in height, body building of fats, and hair growths in different parts of the body. But we must remember that these developments is already completed by most of the girls at the age of 15. This means that by the late adolescence, there's a possibility that girls have stopped developing physically. So, to explain this, I, for example, as a 16 years old girl, have been developing since my puberty stage. Yet, there is a possibility that some of my physical changes were finished when I was 15 years old. So, for example, my height. So, there's might be a possibility that I will not grow taller anymore. Yet again, not all girls will experience it, but most of the girls might. Now, what about the boys? Is it similar to girls? What do you think? Boys are still maturing and gaining strength, muscle mass, and height, and are completing the development of sexual traits. The physical changes in boys start between the age of 8 to 14 years old. During this period, a boy will experience changes in parts of the reproductive system. His arms, shoulder, and the rest of his body changes, and he will gain weight and muscle mass, which is why he will be stronger. He will also experience voice cracks as a sign that his voice is maturing. His height will likely increase too. And lastly, of course, massive hair growths will happen in the different parts of his body, such as growing mustache. Nevertheless, compared to the most of the girls, boys' physical changes as a teen will not stop at the age of 15. Instead, they will continue to mature until they reached adulthood. For example, a 19-year-old boy, even though he was already in the final stage of adolescence and well past the age of 15, he would still go through the changes I mentioned. For example, he might grow taller or he might gain more strength. These changes will only stop after late adolescence. Now that you know the physical changes in the late adolescence, you might ask me then, what is then the challenge of the physical development? During these years, the primary task is to manage these physical changes, and the result of how the teen handle it will likely affect his or her behavior, mood, and social relationship. Thus, how the teen will cope up with these changes on his or her body influences other developments on the late adolescence, such as the social, emotional, and mental development. So, for example, teens may develop insecurities about his or her body, and the unsuccessful handling of that insecurities may affect his social interaction with others. That falls on the social development. finally, we are done with physical development. Let's go to the mental development. Mental development. When we say mental, it means that it is linked with our mind or in our brain. According to APA Dictionary, mental development is the progressive changes in mental processes due to maturation, learning, and experience. Now, throughout this development in the late adolescence, teen will experience more and more mental challenges, and those challenges will test their capacity to handle it that will mold and guide them to the passage to adulthood. So, as the teen reaches the last stage of adolescence, he or she is expected to, first, becomes better able to set goals and think in terms of the future. When a teen reaches late adolescence, that's the time that he or she will start to chase his or her dream. He will start to ask questions such as, what are my plans in the future? What should I pursue? And what is my dream? Meanwhile, the ability of teen to plan is an important skill for succession of goals. Thus, it is a challenge since the teen's ability to plan simultaneously will likely determine his or her future. To explain this, remember when we were just a little kid, we dream of a lot of things. We want to be a soldier, then the next day we want to be a doctor, and so on and so on. We are not consistent with our goals, and that should not be the case in the late adolescence. We need to have a plan on how to achieve it, or else we might end up regretting in the future. Second, has a better understanding of complex problems and issues. Late adolescents have the capacities to think abstractly, moving out their comfort zone and consider multiple dimensions of problems, process informations and stimuli more efficiently, and reflect on the self and life experiences. Now, so as the teen reach late adolescence, teens are now capable of thinking more deeply, or let's say more mature. That's why they have the capacity to solve problems and process informations. And because of that, these adolescents must learn to analyze problems in a more logical and scientific manner, as they will encounter them more in adulthood and the following stages of life. Now, see, they need to learn how to handle problems because the incomplete development means that adolescents will continue to struggle and make wise and thoughtful decisions in the future. This also explains the relevance of mathematics in our lives. It trains us to think critically and logically, skills that we all need on handling mature problems that we will encounter in the future. Kaya kahit na mahirap ang mathematics, we still need to study it because it trains our brain to solve complicated problems, not just on paper, but real-life problems that we will surely encounter in the future. Now, down to the third and last part. Starts to develop moral ideals and to select role models. As adolescence starts to mature, their understanding of morality and their behavior becomes more closely aligned with their own values and beliefs. This means that by late adolescence, teens begin to establish their own definition of what is right and what is wrong, and the challenge with moral development is it is affected by trauma and social learning. An adolescent that experiences trauma such as physical, mental, and emotional abuse, death of loved ones, and witnessing senseless violence like killing, might think that the world is unfair to them, and that kind of thinking might influence their behavior. So like diba when we watch these dramas, especially Filipino dramas, most of the villains have dark pasts which push them to be horrible person. Now, in social learning, adolescents might be exposed with adults in their life making immoral decisions, leading youth to have beliefs and values that are not aligned with social standards. Now, what will happen to these youths? Well, they might find difficulty in forming meaningful relationship with others. Now, who do you think is responsible then with moral development? Well, it is our parents. We all know that everything is learned first at home, right? Thus, parents are in charge in teaching moral development. They are the teens' role models. Everything they did is likely to be copied by teens, regardless of righteousness or wrongfulness. Parents should be careful on their action because it has a big role in developing the children's well-being and success in life. So for our parents, you should learn to teach your kids moral development, and it will start within you. Now, that's all for my coverage. Thank you for listening.
Emotional development is about an individual's feelings for and about other people, objects, situation, and experiences. By the way, I am Mohammad Husney M. Galo. I invite you to learn more about emotional development because it is important and involves the way one feels about themselves, others, and the world. Emotional development refers to the ability to recognize, express, and manage feelings at different stages of life, and to have empathy for the feelings of others. This development of these emotions, which include both positive and negative emotions, is largely affected by relationship with our parents, siblings, and peers. Adults are now may able to use words to express their own feelings. So they express their feelings by hitting out when angry. The emotion what we feel are the distinct feelings or qualities of consciousness, such as joy or sadness that reflect the personal significance of emotion. Emotional development involves learning what our feelings and emotions are, understanding and how and they occur, recognizing your own feelings and those of others, and developing effective ways for managing those feelings. It is gradual, integrative process through which children acquire capacity to understand, experience, express, and manage emotions and to develop meaningful relationship with others. The importance of emotional development is to understand how others feel helps you become better at socializing. It because being able to adapt the feelings of others can help you gain a lot of friends and be understood better. May stress over school and test scores. The stress over school may concern about not having enough friends, not being the same class with your friends, interpersonal conflict, and peer pressure are few of the very common ways people can be stressed at school. Many things that could be causing students stress at school. These are too much homework, lack of organization, too little downtime, poor sleep schedule, or lack of not getting enough sleep, lack of support, and classes that are too hard. The level of stress can really affect my test scores. If my stress is low, maybe I can endure it and does not affect my scores. However, if my stress is high, then it will highly affect how my brain functions, lowers my self-esteem, and worse, it will trigger my anxiety. Is self-involved, may have high expectation and low self-concept. The self-concept is used to how someone thinks about, evaluates, or perceive themselves. To be aware of oneself when self-involved may have high expectation. When someone hopes or expects something will be successful. And it is an educational consulting firm whose purpose it is to significantly impact student achievement. Make sure your own expectation of yourself are not too high. Having goals is great, but if you have put heaps of pressure on yourself, you will probably feel stress. Seek privacy and time alone. It is natural for people to want more privacy and keep more things to themselves. This is because they exploring new ideas, emotion, and interest. Giving your child or teenager time and privacy to think and explore is an important part of supporting their growing independence. That's because part of growing up is learning to handle new ideas, emotions, and interests with independence and responsibility. Being alone can help you build mental strength and solitude, but solitude may be just as important. The ability to tolerate alone time has been linked to increased happiness, better life satisfaction, and improved stress management. People who enjoy alone time experience less depression. Is concerned about physical and sexual attractiveness. Physical attractiveness is which a person's physically features are considered aesthetically pleasing or beautiful, which more often implies sexual attractiveness or desirability. Many factors which influence one person's attraction to another with physically or physical aspect being one of them, may complain that parents prevent him or her from doing things independently. Being overprotective of parents to their children is not good, especially when their child is capable of moving out and living independently. In that girl's situation, she should talk to her parents and explain what they are doing is not good for her and does not make her happy. She can tell her parents that doing things independently is what she wants to do because she is old enough. If things like this continue, it will find difficult to move out and live independently, away from her parents. Starts to want both physical and emotional intimacy in relationship. An emotional bond also offers the opportunity for deeper connection over time, where a physical connection may be perceived to do the opposite. When you first meet your spouse, you undoubtedly love someone of their quirks and the way they made you feel while being with them. As time passes, those feelings are only going to deepen. The smile that will you enjoy become more endearing. Physical connection could be made with just about anyone that you find attractive, but your emotional bond with your partner is unique. No one would replicate how they made you feel, and vice versa. You could spend your whole life chasing down how they make you feel, and it would be impossible to capture in intimacy. In a relationship is a feeling of being a close and emotional connected and supported. It means being able to share a whole range of thoughts, feelings, and experiences that we have as a human being. It involves being open and talking through your thoughts and emotions, letting your guard down, being vulnerable, and showing someone else how you feel and what their hopes and dreams are. The truth is you cannot have good physical intimacy without emotional intimacy, and you cannot experience emotional intimacy without the physical component as well. The experience of intimate partnership. Intimacy involves feelings of emotional closeness and connectedness with another person. Intimate relationships are often characterized by attitudes of mutual trust, caring, and acceptance. With others involves taking emotional risk where people might share personal details and stories. Intimate relationships provide mutual support, mutual fulfillment, and promote positive growth and development. These relationships are the bedrock of the fundamental social society, the family. It is important then to affirm the value of intimacy, and to identify ways to maintain a healthy, intimate relationship. These relationships play a central role in the overall human experience. Humans have a general desire to belong and to love, which is usually satisfied within an intimate relationship. Such relationships allow a social network for people to form strong emotional attachments. As you can see, this is the best examples of emotional development. Learning from mistakes, showing affection for others, exhibiting a positive self-image, exhibiting pride accomplishments, building healthy relationships with adults, paying attention to and being observant of others. Sayings about emotional development, ideal or choiceness, its outcome as a form of vision, a preoccupation with self-scrutiny that can stunt emotional growth.
Social development is about improving the well-being of every individual in society so they can reach their full potential. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Almirah A. Lacson. Here are some social changes teens are experiencing during late adolescence.
Social changes teens are experiencing during late adolescence. The first one is may in relationship with parents from dependency and subordination to one that reflects the adolescence, increasing maturity and responsibilities in the family and in the community. This is the phase where a teenager become more independent, mature, and think about his or her responsibilities in the family and in the community. The second one is more and more aware of social behaviors of friends. Teenagers would have knowledge on how his or her friends will influence him or her. The third one is they seek friends that share the same beliefs, values, and interests. Teenagers seek out like-minded individuals because the interaction is smoother and pleasant. Even I choose friends that has same interest as mine so that our conversation would be longer and both of us will enjoy it because we have the same interest. The fourth one is friends are more important because having close friends in adolescence offers sort of protection against many of the common mental health issues faced by young adults. The fifth one is they start to have intellectual interest. This is the phase where they try new things like reading new topics they are curious about and learn things as long as it will help their mind grow. The sixth one is explores romantic and sexual behaviors with others. This is the phase where they explore physical intimacy, sexual feelings, and sexual attractions. And for the last one, may be influenced by peers to try risky behaviors. Some of them tries risky behaviors because they want to feel accepted and valued by their friends. And because their friends are into risky behaviors, so you have to learn how to say no and look for some friends out there that are good influence. That is all. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Ahmed B Habib and I am going to talk about how we should live mindfully. I bet all of you are familiar about the phrase think before you speak. Are you not wondering why this phrase is very well known? It's because everyone has its right to talk about anything without them thinking its effect to others. That's why join me in discussing how we should really think before we speak. Living mindfully means we should be aware in our surroundings. We should be mindful about what's happening around us. We should be sensitive about what we are going to do in order to refrain ourselves from affecting other people. That's why in order to live mindfully, we should remember that thinking before speaking is a must. What is the guideline for mindful speech? Well, first of all, we're going to run a fact check about the thing that we are going to say, whether it's true or not. And it's really important that we are going to tell is true. So false rumors will not be spread. Even if we think that we are going to say is true, we should not really base on assumption. Hence, we should have a legit proof that will support what we are going to say. Next, we are going to assess if the thing that we'll say will be helpful, because given the circumstances that we are going to say will harm other people instead of helping them, then it's better that we should not tell it. Third is we're going to analyze if you're the best person that will say it, because if there are better options that will not involve you, then I think it's better to exclude yourself from the given situation, because sometimes even if we're telling the truth and what we are going to say is helpful, there are really times that we are not the best person to say it, because it will just complicate things. So again, if there are other better options, then let's push it through. Fourth is we are going to think deeply if we should really say it now, because if given the chance that it's not really important to tell it right away, then give it a second thought before you really say it. Think about it twice before you tell it. And lastly, we should really consider if what we are going to say is kind to that person, because if we realize that we are going to tell will just offend that person, then it's better to stop ourselves from saying what we should say, even if it's true, helpful, and necessary. If it's not kind to say to the other people, then we should not. So again, the guidelines for living mindfully or having a mindful speech is we are going to assess if what we are going to tell is true, helpful, urgent, kind to the other people, and lastly is if we are the best candidate to say it. After assessing and the result is yes, then you say it. If not, then don't. If one of them is not present, for example, it's not helpful, hence it's true and very urgent to say and kind to the people, but the fact that it's not helpful, then we should not say it. It's a must that guidelines for mindful speech is all present, because living mindfully is like being an artist. You need the right tools to practice your craft, and you need to constantly refine your technique to achieve your creative potential. In the same way, using the present moment tools below will help you to hone a consistent mindfulness practice that will in time lead to a more aware, compassionate, and fulfilling way of life. So here are some tools that we should do in order to live mindfully. First, we should breathe mindfully. We are going to use our breath as an anchor to focus back to the present, since sometimes we could forget what is necessary. So we should really master breathing mindfully for us to be aware and for us to be mindful about what's happening. Second is tool number 2. We should listen deeply. As we listen with intention, we let others fully express themselves and focus on understanding how they think and feel, because sometimes in order to live mindfully, we should think the shoe of the other people. We should learn and analyze what will they feel. It's important for us to learn about it as we feel empathy with them. So we should listen deeply to other people for us to know what they will feel. Next tool is the tool number 3. We should cultivate insight and see life as it, for us to allow each experience to be an opportunity for learning. This also is a great tool in living mindfully. We should stay optimistic about life and learn that in every failure that we experience, we should not see it as a bad luck. Hence, we should look at it in the other side, that by failing at least we learn something from it, and we should bring that failure in our journey for us to refrain ourselves from doing it again. And every opportunity, whether it's successful or not, what is important is the learning we get from it. So those are the tools that I've discussed in order to live mindfully. So the next reporter will discuss about the other tools that are remaining. Always remember that everything we say should be true. However, not everything true should be said. Again, I am Ahmed B. Habib. Thank you for listening.
Hey, Assalamualaikum and good day. So in here, I'm going to continue the tools in living mindfully under the passage to adulthood. So ako lang naman po ang nag-iisang kulot, mukhang Latino, mukhang Indiano na ewan. I am Abdulraffy R, Cayongcat from STEM 11.5. So in this video, I'm going to continue the remaining tools under living mindfully. So why do we need to live mindfully? Kailangan nating maging mentally present and makibagay sa mga nakikita natin sa ating surroundings, pwedeng mga tao, mga bagay na nakikita natin. Kasi minsan nakakaligtaan natin yung mga maliliit na bagay na nasa paligid lang natin. Like for instance, may nagbigay sa'yo ng gift, tapos parang wala lang, nag-accept ka lang pero hindi ka na-thank you, ganun. Parang maliliit na bagay pero hindi natin napapansin. So yeah, living mindfully under the passage to adulthood. Number 4, practice compassion. Consider the thoughts and feelings of others and let tenderness, kindness, and empathy be your guides. So simple things can make things bigger. Like for instance, being with someone who's dearest to you and being there during their ups and downs in life, mas gumagaan yung feeling nila. Like napapa-lessen natin yung mga naibsan natin yung mga nafe-feel nila sa buhay. Like for instance, pag kunyari, say for instance, hindi sila pumasa sa board exam o di kaya sa board exam, yung feeling niya nandun ka lang, tapos tatapikin mo yung likod niya, tapos i-comfort mo siya. Doon mafe-feel ng tao na may halaga pala siya, na like pwede pa niyang gawin in the next year or the following years. So in that case, parang mafe-feel sa'yo ng tao na pinapahalagaan mo siya and he or she is worth it. 5th, 2. Limit reactivity. Observe rather than be controlled by your emotions. Pause, breath, and choose a skillful response based on thoughtful speech and non-violence under every condition. So, kailangan dito sa pang-limang 2, kailangan hindi tayo palaging nagre-react sa mga bagay-bagay na nakikita natin. To avoid conflicts. Like, kasi tayo mga Pinoy, practically speaking, pag may nakita tayo, kunyari may nag-aaway dyan sa gilid, like, makikisabay tayo, ganun. Minsan pa, parang mas tayo pa yung nagiging kaaway nung talagang nag-aaway, diba? Dapat ano sabi nila, stay low-key. Parang magpadala sa nafe-feel natin or sa damdamin natin. Dapat lang tayo, hindi dapat tayo nababasa ng ibang tao to live mindfully. Parang kumbaga, to maintain peaceful mind, in order for you to maintain good state sa buhay, kailangan meron din tayong break or di kaya kailangan hindi tayo basta-basta na lang umaatake. Dapat peaceful yung mind natin, tapos makipag-usap dun sa tao in order for us to negotiate and lessen conflicts. Number 6, express gratitude. Practice gratitude daily and expand it outward, appreciating everyone and everything you encounter. So sa tool na to, we need to be thankful and grateful for everything that we have. Yung buhay pa nga lang natin binigay ng God is sobrang malaking gift para sa atin. Like, imagine living and then gigising ka araw-araw, makikita mo yung pamilya mo, ganun. Nagagawa mo yung mga bagay na gusto mo, and we need to live with that day by day. Kasi kung araw-araw tayo malungkot o di kaya nagmumukmuk sa loob ng bahay o di kaya sa kwarto, parang wala. What's the sense of our lives? We need to live with it and be thankful. So yeah, practice gratitude kahit saan ka pumunta. Maliit man, malaking bagay yung binigay sa'yo, always say thank you, or pakita mo sa tao na na-appreciate mo yung maliliit or malalaking bagay na binibigay nila sa'yo. Kasi, ganun din sila sa'yo. Parang, nare-reciprocate yung bagay na ginagawa mo. So, kung for instance, gumawa ka ng masama sa kanila, then, yun din yung marireceive mo, yun din ma-harvest mo. So, you need to be, you need to show gratitude in order for you to have the same or mutual relationship with other people. Number 7, nurture mutual respect. Appreciate our common humanity and value different perspectives as well as your own. So why do we need to nurture mutual respect? Kasi pag may respeto ka sa iba, irerespeto ka rin nila. Sabi nga nila, respect begets respect. So, always remember to respect each and every person. Malaki man o maliit yung bagay na nagawa nila sa'yo, o di kaya nagawan ka man nila ng masama, o di kaya nasaktan ka nila. Always remember na if you need a peaceful and calm life, you need to be calm each and every day. Kailangan yung anger mo na ano mo yan, na ano yung tawag doon, kailangan yung anger natin na nakokontrol natin yan. Kasi pag nagpadala tayo sa anger natin, minsan napupunta tayo sa mga bagay na hindi ka nais-nais. So yeah, mutual respect. Also sa panahon ngayon, minsan kasi talaga may mga taong sobrang bastos. So how to handle that? Para ma-handle natin ang mga taong yun, huwag din natin patulan. Yeah, sabi nga nila, an educated person will never make an argument with those people na parang, nasa basta hindi na natin yun pero mutual respect. Kailangan may respeto tayo sa isa't isa para i-respeto rin nila tayo. So number 8, we have build integrity. Cultivate constructive values and consistently act from respect, honesty, and kindness. So dito papasok yung tinatawag nila sa Tagalog na integridad. Kailangan natin maging totoo at magpakita ng sinseridad sa lahat ng bagay na ginagawa natin, sa lahat ng anong aspekto ng buhay. Kasi pag napakita tayo ng mga bagay na hindi kaaya-aya sa paningin ng iba, o kunyari nagsisinungaling tayo, o di kaya hindi tayo nagsasabi ng totoo, maraming tao ang maano sa atin, parang mag-iiba yung perspective nila sa atin. At kunyari, sabi nga nila, first impression last. So kunyari, pag nakita, for instance, may na-meet tayong tao, tapos nagsisinungaling tayo. May mga tao na the whole life natin, parang yun yung tingin nila sa atin na parang nagsisinungaling tayo. Kasi yun yung impression na binigay natin sa kanila. So why do we need to build integrity? Kasi yung integridad, or kunyari yung prinsipyo ng isang tao, doon makikita yung parang etong taong to napaka-stricto, ganun. Kunyari, may prinsipyo siya sa buhay na talagang minimaintain niya, na hindi siya talaga nagpapandaig or sira, or di kaya sabihin na natin parang yun yung naging character ng taong yun, at yun yung titingalain ng ibang tao sa kanya. So number 9, foster leadership. Engage fully in life and in community. Share your unique talents and generosity so that others can also be inspired. So kailangan sa pagiging leader, always natin i-lend yung ears natin sa iba. Kasi doon papasok yung parang mutual relationship with other people Kasi may mga tao, may mga leader kasi na sarili lang nila yung pinapakinggan nila, like kung anong decision nila, yun lang. Tapos hindi nila pinapakinggan yung mga co-workers nila o di kaya yung mga kasamahan nila. So, ang pangit ng ganung relationship. As a leader, you need to learn, you need to hear something from your co-workers in order for the work to be better. At saka, kailangan natin makipag-engage, makisalamuha sa iba para mapaganda yung or para mapaganda yung kalalabasan ng inyong work. Tapos, show generosity. Kailangan lagi kang totoo sa sarili mo. O di kaya, wag mong ipakita yung mga bad sides mo. O di kaya, you can show your bad sides, pero, you know, sometimes sa life natin, we need to filter things in order for us to make things work. So the last but not the least tool under living mindfully is be peaceful. Cultivate your own inner peace, becoming an agent for compassionate action and social good. So why do we need to be peaceful? Why do we need to attain peace? Kasi in order for us to live mindfully or to be in a good state in life, we need to be peaceful. Sa lahat ng bagay, sa lahat ng aspeto ng buhay, kailangan natin i-maintain yung peace sa ating neighborhood, sa loob ng bahay, o di kaya sa own self natin, sa thoughts natin, sa sarili natin. Kasi kung magpapaconquer tayo sa mga iniisip natin, di kaya sa thoughts natin sa life, walang mangyayari, hindi tayo mag-advance. At saka kakainin lang tayo ng ating emosyon. At yun yung magpapadala sa atin into depression. So we need to maintain peaceful life in order for us to keep moving forward and makita natin yung mga bagay na mas makabuluhan. At yun yung magdadala sa atin sa gusto natin sa buhay. So before I end this video, I'm going to end this by sharing a quote from Siddhartha Gautama, or mas famous na tinatawag na Buddha. So it goes like this: our life is shaped by our minds. Our life is shaped by our mind. For we become what we think. So kung ano yung iniisip natin, yun din tayo. Sabi ni Siddhartha Gautama. So, thank you.